There are military shooting games that focus almost entirely on just action, asking players to move quickly, shoot first, think later. On the other side of things, there are these games that slow everything down and remind you that the most dangerous weapon on the battlefield is not a rifle, it's information. Knowing where the enemy is, understanding the terrain, coordinating with your squad, and making the right decision before anyone fires a shot has always been what sort of separated Ghost Recon from almost every other military franchise. That identity is exactly why so many players continue waiting for the series to make a comeback. It's been years since Ghost Recon Breakpoint launched in 2019, and since then, Ubisoft's continued supporting other major franchises, while Ghost Recon remained unusually quiet. During that silence, rumors began appearing about a new project internally known as Project OVR, and in 2025 Ubisoft finally confirmed that a new Ghost Recon game is indeed in development. Company executives later described it as one of Ubisoft's upcoming flagship titles, while also indicating that the series would move toward a first-person perspective and a more grounded tactical direction. That specific confirmation immediately changed the conversation. Folks were no longer wondering whether Ghost Recon would return. Lots of folks began wondering what kind of Ghost Recon it would become. See, after Wildlands and Breakpoint, the franchise sits at a very interesting crossroad. One game was praised for its enormous sandbox and co-op freedom. The other one introduced ambitious systems but received mixed reactions before improving considerably through years of updates. Ubisoft now has an opportunity to combine everything it learned over the past decade into something that finally delivers the tactical military experience many players have been asking for. Now, imagine beginning the new Ghost Recon not with explosions or helicopters flying around the screen, but with silence. Like a team arriving long before sunrise, rain falling lightly across the mountains. Nobody's speaking because there's nothing to say yet. Their intelligence has identified a high-value target operating somewhere inside a conflict zone that officially doesn't even exist. Satellite imagery is incomplete, drone feeds reveal just fragments. Every piece of information then feels useful, but none of it tells the whole story. And before firing a single shot, the mission has already begun. That slower pace is exactly where Ghost Recon has always been at its strongest. The most memorable operations in this franchise rarely begin with combat. They begin just with planning. Like imagine opening a detailed tactical map now, where every route presents different opportunities. One pass crosses abandoned villages, another follows some dense forest. The third route also then moves through mountains. There ain't one correct answer is what I'm saying. There are simply consequences attached to every decision that you make. That philosophy alone could separate the next Ghost Recon from many modern shooters that constantly funnel players toward predetermined action sequences. Now, recent reports suggest that Ubisoft wants to return to a more realistic military style inspired by tactical shooters rather than just fast-paced arcade shooting. Various reports have described the project as emphasizing squad coordination, careful movement, realistic engagement, and first-person immersion instead of the more action-oriented direction seen in the recent entries. In fact, if those reports prove accurate, they could represent the course direction the franchise needs. Because realism isn't simply about making weapons louder or bullets more dangerous or just graphics. Realism comes from uncertainty. Imagine entering a village where nobody immediately appears hostile. Children are playing soccer, stores are open, farmers move equipment between the fields, working, and somewhere amongst them, intelligence such as enemy operatives are somewhere hiding. You can't simply eliminate everyone. You have to observe, watch the patterns, study behavior, notice who disappears when military arrives. Notice who avoids eye contact, who seems strangely interested in your movement. The mission becomes detective work because it becomes combat. That kind of tension is incredibly difficult to create through non-stop firefights. On the other hand, the environment itself could become one of the game's greatest strengths, so to speak, where instead of filling maps with repetitive objectives, every region should feel like a genuinely military theater shaped by its own politics, geography, and human conflict. The battlefield never feels designed for players, it's just simply what it is, it exists, which that automatically makes every mission feel more believable. One particularly exciting possibility involves squad behavior. Ghost Recon has always emphasized teamwork, but modern technology could elevate AI companions dramatically now. The player remains in command, of course, but leadership feels genuine rather than just mechanical. That distinction matters because military operations succeed through trust, not automation. Enemy intelligence deserves the same level of attention, so to speak. Like, imagine hostile forces adapting over time instead of repeating identical mistakes. A successful infiltration causes some future enemy units to deploy additional equipment. Stuff like that. The battlefield learning, just like you do. That, in fact, creates a campaign where every operation influences the next one. Combat itself, by the way, should remain grounded. Ghost Recon's never needed exaggerated abilities or cinematic acrobatics and whatnot. The tension comes from vulnerability. Every bullet matters, every exposed position carries risk, every engagement feels dangerous. A modern Ghost Recon should fully embrace a lot of those identities. Like, one well-planned operation ought to feel more satisfying than clearing dozens of enemy outposts through just brute force. Technology could naturally support that experience as well now that we're on that area. Every tool could offer advantage, every tool introduces compromises. That balance keeps decision-making interesting. Storytelling could also become far more personal as well. See, Ghost Recon is always traditionally focused on geopolitical conflicts, but the strongest military stories are rarely about politics alone. There are people operating inside impossible situations where every choice carries lots of consequences beyond the battlefield itself. Imagine missions where success creates humanitarian complications, capturing one target, allowing another one to escape, protecting one village, leaving another exposed. In that sense, victory no longer means perfection, it simply means making the least damaging decision available. Those moral gray areas feel appropriate for Ghost Recon because they reflect the complexity of modern military operations without turning the story into some political commentary. A modern Ghost Recon should fully embrace that identity. For now, much of the game remains unknown. There is no gameplay trailer, no official title, no detailed reveal, only scattered reports, executive commands, and growing anticipation from a community that has spent years wondering where the ghosts would deploy next. But perhaps that's fitting, because Ghost Recon has never been about spectacle for its own sake. It's about patience, preparation, discipline. It's about understanding that the most stressful missions are often the ones nobody ever hears about. It could become something much rarer. A game that reminds players that the quietest soldier on the battlefield is often the most dangerous one as well. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing that sooner rather than later.